Before we get started, just a reminder, we have mics, so make sure to pass them around, and I'll call on you guys if you want to raise your hand. Once we get the cameras rolling, Coach will start with an opening statement, and we'll get right into it.
I'm really proud of our program, and I think in some ways I told the team, like, I'm the worst at this. I have a unique ability to take all the fun out of a win and want it to be perfect, and the reality is that's a good team we played against today. That's a well-coached team. I got a ton of respect for them, and we didn't finish quite like we wanted. We were able to play some kind of down the line guys that need the snaps and will be important to us as we move forward in the season. But the story of this one to me is battling through a tough and competitive first half, making the plays we needed to make to separate. All the drives that started in the middle eight, we came out net 24-7. That's a really nice job. And 17-0 in the third quarter, that's a team that's synced up. And I just have a ton of respect for our team. This is week five in a row. I think that, they have shown up week in, week out, and they've done the work in the process. They've stayed focused on the climb, and they've come out on top 5 times. And so, obviously, Diego had a big day, and Junior Cheryl had a big day, and Miles Caper shows up again for us, and we punted the ball well, and Joe McVay did a great job in coverage, and there's a lot, the forced fumble, Bryce Cowan, and the fumble recovery for KT. So just a lot to like about that, and again, a great 20-point win, and we'll learn from the things that we didn't like about maybe some of the sloppiness there at the finish. But on the whole, I'm really proud of this group, and I'm excited to continue on with them.
Billy.
Coach, 8 penalties for 91 yards.
God, Billy, I thought I said I'd take the fun out of it, not you.
I'm sorry, I had to, but how many of those were fundamental technical, like you like to say, and how many of those were penalties that you maybe didn't agree with?
Well, I see the way you phrase that. I got to be careful now. Some of them, look, we get the punt there where we're called for holding. I didn't love that, but I also saw it, and we got to be better fundamentally, technically there, moving our feet. That's a big moment, and I need to be better too, kind of resetting from that. I was upset. I thought, I knew Utah State was going to be challenging, and we needed to try to create some space between us and them, and that was a chance for us to do it. And here's a sequence, right? We go 3 and out on that snap. That's the 4th down snap. We're 3 and out there. Drive extends. We get another 3 and out, and we go to block the punt, and we're called for roughing. And Marlowe feels like he touched the ball. That's what it looked like from our sideline, but that's not what was called. And so it is what it is. That drive ends up in a touchdown for them. So again, those are fouls that are going to happen. I think one of them could be cleaned up with some fundamental technical work and erased a big play, a momentum swinging play for us. And then one of them is more about we're aggressively going after the punt, and we didn't get enough of the ball to have it called our way. We had a procedural penalty in the first quarter, I believe. We had a holding penalty. The holding stuff's going to happen. I think that was on a read play where Diego bounced the ball outside, and I think Isaiah just had the jersey, and those things happen. Billy, I'm not going to go through every single one. That's all I can remember off the top of my head. We had defensive holding late. I thought that was sloppy. We had a chance to, I think it was on 3rd down. That probably would have been a 4th down go for them, but we were pressuring the quarterback and just grabbed the jersey and want to play more detailed there. I did feel like coming out of the early kind of rash of penalties, we did settle in, and we played cleaner as that middle part of the game went on, and that's what allowed us to separate. So we'll address the ones that we need to play better through. I don't like penalties. Obviously, today it didn't hurt us, but it will moving forward, and so we need to clean our game up a little bit.
Graham.
You just talked about it. Despite the penalties, you guys were still able to turn around defensively. So, what can you say about the adversity that your defense just sort of battled through and gave the offense the ability to sort of blow the game open?
Well, we put the defense in some tough positions. Obviously, with the interception too, I think we were really kind of, we got to a point where we were clicking in place. We have to look at those drives, where we didn't quite get to the stop early enough, because it felt like when we got on our heels, the ball ended up in the end zone, and that's not okay. So we'll look at kind of what are the things that are going on within drives, where can we clean up. The score right before half, I felt like that was sloppy on the defense. We blow a couple of rush lanes where their quarterback, who's a good athlete, is able to extend the play and find someone open down the field. We have to crush the pocket, and we have to make it hard on him to escape. And those were kind of blatant fundamental technical breakdown. That's not how we rush. We then cut the back loose on a wheel down the sideline where we needed coverage on that. We're trying to pressure, and we need that back peeled. And those are examples of plays where you credit Utah State because they're capitalizing on our mistakes, but our control is in the execution. And so it gives us things to coach through. It gives us things to learn from, and those are frustrating and painful things. But we're going to focus on them tomorrow. We clean it up. Right now, we're going to celebrate a resilient defense, and a defense that stood strong when we needed it to, and allowed us to distance ourselves from the opponent, and allowed us to get some guys in the game that need to play snaps.
Joey?
You said in fall camp that you thought Junior Sherrill was ready to take a step forward. This kind of performance maybe evidence that he kind of has taken that step forward?
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about performance, you're seeing the result of a lot of hard work. So this guy is invested. He's played through injury here early in the season, which has been so impressive. And for every time he catches a pass, there's probably 6 or 7 snaps where he's just blocking relentlessly on the perimeter. He sets the tone for us. He's an unselfish player. He's a Nashville guy. He's a guy that signed up for this when it was early in the build, and so we've gone through a lot together. I've got so much love and respect for Junior, and he's got so many more of these games ahead of him. It's just, he's a really good football player, and today was his day, and I'm happy for him. And from my understanding, it's the most touchdowns in the game since Earl Bennett. So anytime we can try to start passing Earl Bennett in the record books, I think that's a good day for Vanderbilt.
In the back, Henry?
Yeah, you guys had 8 tackles for loss in the night. Just how would you grade the defensive line performance in general?
I thought we controlled the line of scrimmage. I really felt like we erased run game for them. Now, you credit that offense. They're creative, they're formational. There was a lot of empty and kind of what we call yo-empty with the tight end in the core, some 3-back stuff. I mean, it's very similar to who we are offensively, honestly. But I did not like the end of half drive. Like I said, there were rush lane issues there that I think we have to play better. But I felt like we erased a run game tonight or today, and they broke the one late. They had the ripper there, and I don't know how long that went for, but they had 188 yards of total offense, I think, in the fourth quarter. That's where our focus is going to be, on how we clean it up. But that long run there in the fourth was that hurt, because I felt like the final statistics aren't representative of how we played against run tonight. I was really proud of those guys.
Here in the front right.
Tom Wood, the Ledger. Talk about the passing game and just how it continues to improve weekly. And is Diego doing anything that impresses you more each week?
Well, Diego ties the school record today with 5 touchdowns. It was his first 300-yard game here at Vanderbilt. I said this, I don't remember, it all runs together, but at some point I said that the story that's not really been talked about is how much he's improved in the year. I think this guy has really playing at a high level right now, putting us in good positions to have success, getting us in good plays, making good decisions with the ball, playing with confidence. So again, as he goes, our team will go. You know, and that's true of every team. You know, it's the quarterback that drives it. Now, all that said, I don't think you can talk about Diego without first talking about how our offensive line is playing. And they don't get the credit they deserve, but they are creating time and space for him in the pocket, which has given him room and routes to escape, which again, he has another great rushing day today. I mean, he's got, as I see it here, a net of 79 yards. 33 was his long. That's the offensive line. You know, that starts with them. And then the other part of it too is he has the ability, I mean, we have multiple weapons for him. So you see, again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I think 9 guys with targets, 7 with catches, is if I'm reading this correctly. Just the number of tools that are around him right now make him a better player too.
Tom Craig with Tennessee. Coach, go back to the penalties. How much of a concern is it knowing who you got next week, knowing you're on the road against Alabama? What do you have to clean up? Like, what do you feel like you have to clean up going into that with what you saw tonight?
You know, we're going to need to play clean in terms of our operation. This will be a tough environment. I mean, our team is going to be so excited to play. So I just we're going to celebrate this one and we're going to get past it. But the operational penalties have to be cleaned up. We can't expect to go down there. I mean, again, you're inviting the environment into the game when you have a false start or when you're not playing clean that way. I mean, I don't want to get too I don't want to split too many hairs on some of the in-play penalties. Obviously, again, the stuff on special teams, I think one of them we can clean up. One of them is we're playing aggressively, and I think the film will show whether or not we got a piece of that ball. But I trust this team. I trust the team. Look, do we need to play perfectly? No. That's not what this team is anymore. But do we need to play clean enough to win? That's the key, and we'll focus on playing better football. I mean, there's a lot to learn from today. We know that the task at hand, but we're excited for it, and this group has positioned us to be undefeated heading down there, and that means a lot.
Dylan. Oh, go ahead.
I
Sorry.
have one follow-up on Diego. It seems like this year, maybe it's the O-line, maybe it's just he's smarter. Like, he seemed to be able to play safer, whereas to stay away from injury and kind of limit the hard hits. It seems like.
Yeah, I would never say that he's playing safer, because he is a wild man out there in the best of ways. I think we are doing a better job protecting him and taking hits off him and giving him designed gives, and also creating space for him in the pocket. We took him out of the game. He was begging me to keep playing. I mean, this guy, if they would come back out and play some more now, he'd go back out there and play some more too. So that's just who he is. I love who he is. I think the offense is performing well around him. I think our staff has done a good job of positioning him in ways to keep him healthy.
Dylan, and then last question to Joey.
We have to go to Aria. I mean, Aria is here every day, and she is ready. And so, can we do 3 to finish here? Aria, why don't you take it away?
Yeah. Was it difficult at all to keep the team focused this week and keep them from looking ahead to what you have next week?
See, that's a great question, and that's why we go to Aria. I'll tell you, this was our 263rd day on the mission together, and that's 263 days of building trust. And it is always for us one climb at a time. And so whether you go back to January and it's being in the moment and focusing on the task at hand in a hard training session or an OTA, whether it's spring practice and we're at practice 7 and we're not thinking about practice 8, we're in practice 7. The summer, as we go through June, July, and then into training camp, what I'm trying the point I'm trying to make is that this group knows how important each day is for the program. And to answer your question, no, we didn't talk anything about any of it, because 263 days of trust. I know how these guys show up to work every day. I know how important it is for them. I know how much it matters to them. And so that excites me about where we can go, honestly. And I will tell you that I feel like we have as mature a team as anybody in the country that way. So I'm proud of them, but it's always one climb at a time. These guys have invested for 263 days, and we'll live to see 264.
Coach, it looked like Marlon Jones got the start over Martel Height at cornerback. Also felt like, just based on the eye test, he was playing a little less. Is there any kind of load management going on with Height, considering his workload in all three phases so far this season?
No, not load management. I'll have to kind of look at that with respect to snap counts and kind of decisions, coaching decisions, but none of it has to do with Martel. If anything, it's, Marlon's earned the right to be out there some, and I think what we've done is we have, in a preparation kind of world, we've spread Martel thin. And so, kind of bringing him back in to focus on a few things that we need him to do really well defensively and in the return game. And so there was nothing like intentional or nothing that stood out. No load management. He's doing great that way. We're bringing him into focus on the things that he needs to do really well to help us get where we're going to go.
Joey.
Eli Stowers had that drop, and then Diego went back to him twice in a row. He scored the touchdown. Does that say anything about Eli and their connection, that they were able to get right away and score the touchdown?
Well, I mean, yeah, they that is true brotherhood. I mean, those guys like each other a lot, and we all believe in Eli. I mean, if anything, it's like so rare that you see him drop the ball, and I think the touchdown, I believe, was a tempo play. Anyways, he came right back to him, maybe even twice in that sequence. That's been a fun duo to watch, and I'm happy for Eli and Diego, but obviously for Eli to bounce back says a lot about his character too.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.